Good day, everybody. It's Brian Terrian here from the Disability Digest. Hope my camera's up and working. Good to be with you. David Alexander, disabled officer. Dan, welcome, welcome. And today we have Miss Jam with us. Thank you for joining us, Jam.
Hello, everyone.
Yes. If you're new here, welcome. Or if you're not new here, welcome back. Today, we're going to cover some of the general information about the disability benefit process going through it. So we're going to talk about like what it is, who qualifies, how you can apply, what happens if you get denied, some tips to maximize your chances of getting approved. So that's what we're going to cover at the end. I'm going to give you some tips, some additional information to help you maximize your chances for winning. And of course, we'll take any questions. Like I saw one in there, somebody has had a question regarding their spouse and getting denied. So we'll address questions like that. Next week, we're going to address a similar set of questions for those that are already approved. And then the following week will be the 24th, and we have attorney Jim Brown coming to talk about continuing disability reviews, disability recipients and applicants getting surveyed or surveillance, overpayments, stuff like that. So that's what we have on tap. So Jam, you put a survey in the chat, right? So for those of you that are out there, if you would fill that in, unless we have any action on it now, that would help me kind of direct the flow of what we're going to talk about today. Okay, let's get into it. The first thing I want to go, and I'm looking at another screen, then I have a few props for today, is and this might be really basic information for some of you that have, that have been in the process for a while. But the first thing I want to address is what is or are Social Security disability benefits. And the Social Security disability benefit system is really designed for people that cannot work, have limitations due to a sickness or an injury, and they can apply for disability income. And it's a check to cover medical expenses, living expenses, and other costs. And there's two main types of disability benefits. And when people, like oftentimes I'll see in the chat here, people use different acronyms, and I don't, it's confusing for me if they might say SSI, but they mean SSDI. So I want to sort that out. So the two types of benefits are SSDI, is the abbreviation for Social Security Disability Income. The other type of benefit is SSI, and the difference is based on your work history. Is if you have worked and paid your taxes, generally it's like 50% or more of the last 10 years, then you would qualify for Social Security disability income. Now, there's some people, unfortunately, that don't fall into that category. Jim, I'm sure you've spoke to a lot of individuals, unfortunately, that have found this out.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. A common example is somebody who stays home to raise children, and they're out of the workforce. They've raised a couple kids, and they've been out for 7 or 8 years, and something happens. So they haven't worked the 50% or more of the last 10 years. So the only other benefit that they would be potentially eligible for, which would be SSI, which is welfare. So the family would need to meet the asset requirements, and which is generally for a couple below $2,500 or an individual $1,500. And you can have a house and a car, but if you have any IRAs or any cash or anything of value, then SSI is not an option. So there's this big gap between the qualifying for Social Security disability, and SSI that hopefully you don't fall in. But those are the two different benefit programs. So next is, and if you're just joining, I see some people trickling in. We're going through the key points of the Social Security Disability Benefit Program, some tips to maximize, and then we're going to take your questions. So who qualifies? Yes, Jim.
Yeah, so for SSD, you have to have worked more than 50% of the last 10 years.
Right.
And if you don't qualify for that, you might be eligible for SSI, which is the supplemental security income.
Right.
The termination for that would be if you're disabled, you have conditions that's limiting you from being able to work, or you're with limited resources, low income, limited resources.
Exactly. So the medical qualifications are the same. It's really the work or you haven't worked an asset piece of it. Yep, exactly. So qualifying from the medical perspective, what Social Security looks for is that you have a condition that's going to last longer than 12 months or is expected to result in death. That's the actual language. It's kind of harsh, but and then there's many people that have the conditions that qualify, but they don't have the right evidence or communicate the right evidence to prove it. And that's what we work hard on here. And prove it means that your medical condition prevents you from performing, if you're under 50, like any work, like any job out there. And if you're over 50 for certain people, then the criteria changes, and it could be that you only have to prove that you're not able to do your prior work. So those are the general criteria. So the younger you are, the more difficult it is to get approved than those that are over 50.
Right.
All right, Jim, let's go on and talk about how one can apply. You can go to your local Social Security office. If you're going to do that, I suggest that you go later in the week when it's not quite so busy, like Thursday or Friday afternoon. Then you don't have to wait a long time. And make sure you bring all of the information that I'm going to share with you in a moment. And so that you can submit your application to somebody and get a receipt, of course. You can also do it from the convenience of your home online. And before you apply, the thing that I want to emphasize to people is to be prepared and understand what it is that you need to prove and how to communicate to Social Security. It's a lot of different components of that. That's what we can help you here with your membership at the Disability Digest. But if the kiss of death, if you will, for a disability application is to just go in and guess. And then one of my, I don't know if it's my favorite things, but I commonly reference the whole theory that is out there that people have. Well, I'm just going to try it and see what happens. And then if it doesn't, work, then I'll find somebody to help me. I think whoever came up with that, because there's also a component of that where people don't believe they're going to get approved at the initial application.
Yeah, I mean, I get asked that a lot.
Yeah. So, I mean, statistically, it's 36% can get approved at the initial application. Now, it's not 100. And I know from the ones that we work on directly, it's significantly more than that. So you can get approved at the initial application. So let's see, I'm going to share my screen here for those of you that are out there. And what you're looking at is the Social Security Disability Checklist. And this is what they ask of you to have when you are going to go through the disability application process. So it's good to have all of this information in advance, and I'm going to put it in the chat for those of you that are out there so that you have it. And you can look it up online. It's just called the checklist, Social Security checklist. But the best practice is to collect all of this information: marriage, divorce, children, military service, employment, medications, banking account, and have it already, ideally have it stored somewhere so that when you need to reference it again, which you will, that it's easy to get to. I'm a big fan of using Google Docs, and if you don't know how to use them, you can go out and just search on Google how to use Google Docs. It's a free service where you can open up a document like this, type in your information, and save it securely. So that's one easy way to do it. So make sure you have all the information, especially if you're going to go to Social Security and apply in person, because if you don't have it, they can't finish your application. If you're doing it online and you only put in some of your information, then you can save and come back and put the rest in later. All right. So that's the different ways in which you can apply. Actually, there's one other way. If you use a disability representative, they should do this work for you. And so that they can control the process, make sure the information's entered properly, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you feel like you can't do it on your own, you'd like assistance, professional help.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So let's say somebody applies. And I said 36% at the initial application. That's not 100. And you end up getting a denial. Well, encourage you to appeal. A lot of people, maybe you've had conversations like this, Jam, they get annoyed, frustrated. They're like, oh my God, right? And they don't
Right.
appeal. So you have to.
Yeah, but my advice really would be just to make sure before applying that you have the required work credits, because I just spoke to a member earlier today, and she got to fourth level in the approval process, and she only found out then that she did not have the required work credits. I mean, it's a total waste of time.
Isn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, the medical part is the most difficult, but you can find out if you qualify in moments, right? So how do you
Yeah.
tell people to check their work
Well,
credits?
Well, I tell them three things. They can either contact Social Security using their toll-free number, or visit their local Social Security office, and through my SSA account.
Yeah. Yeah. Which would be faster and less
Yeah.
time. Yeah. Um, so definitely encourage you to appeal. There's a variety of reasons why your application could be denied. Maybe they didn't get all the medical records, or maybe they did get everything and it's somebody just didn't review it properly, or it wasn't clearly communicated. So you just have to be patient. And really what it comes down to, what I encourage people to think about is, if you can't work, that's what this program is for. It's just, you need to just get in it and stay in it and fight through the process. So you can appeal. I'm going to share my screen again. I want to go through some of the expectations of what you will realize or should see for results at different levels. So this breaks down the 5 steps of the approval process. So I shared with you initial, it's 36% approval rate. And this is just general Social Security information, and different people have different chances of getting approved. So it's just, again, across the board. If you don't get approved there, then you have a 13% chance of getting approved at the reconsideration appeal. Now, before I go on any further, I want everybody to just be aware of the current environment and what's going on out there. When you submit your application, to get to that initial application decision right now is an all-time high for a wait. the national average is 223 days. On Monday, I put out a video that covers this. That was May 8th. So you can go back and look at that. It's got the graphs and the information from Social Security in it. So my encouragement to people is really focus on getting approved at the initial application, because if you don't, you've gone 223 days. It could take you another 223 days to get your reconsideration decision, because it's done in the same office. It's the same workflow. It is very possible. And there's only a 13% chance of getting approved there. So then after the reconsideration, which there's 10 states that don't have this, you would go right to step 3. But for those, most of the states that do have reconsideration, once that is denied, you then request a hearing in front of a judge. And the wait time for that could be, depending on where it is, 12 to 18 months. So if you're doing the math with me, you've got at initial 223 days, possible 223 days at reconsideration, 360 to 400 days of a wait at hearing. So putting the effort in advance, maximizing your chance of winning and making your case stand out is what we encourage you to do here at the Disability Digest. Anything to add to that, Jim?
Nothing.
Okay. So we're going to take some questions, but before we do, just so that you know how we can help you here is, we at the Disability Digest, there's over 800 videos on this YouTube channel now. You can go through and sort and listen to them. Jeff, we appreciate you doing that. But if you join us as a member, go to the disabilitydigest.com, and Jim will put a link in there for you. And when you join us as a member and complete your profile, it helps us understand where you're at. Like maybe you haven't applied, you're applied and waiting, or you got denied, unfortunately, or you're approved. And so we can get you the right information streamlined to help you to the next step. So for example, let's say that you have not applied for your disability benefits and you join us. We have 2 options for you that can help you. It's a 2-part strategy. You have a disability approval course, and there's a specific section for those that haven't applied. And it will help you understand what to say and do, what to prove, how to enter the information into the online application, how to get the right evidence, how to fill out the forms. It's all there step by step. And you can use that, manage your own case. It's perfect. For those that are interested, we work with 15 to 20 new people a month that are a good fit for both of us to be their disability representative. So that could be an option for you as well. But you definitely get the course. There's no charge for the membership, no charge to use the course. And once you go through your initial application, if you get approved, great. We'll change your membership to help you the next steps. If you don't get approved, then we'll help you with the next segment of the course that will bring you on to the reconsideration stage. So what to do to file your appeal there. So that gives you an idea how it works here. And for us, again, there's no charge for the membership, no charge for the course, and you can look at the testimonials on our YouTube channel and associated with our course for those that have used it for years. By the way, the course has got some wonderful contributors. James Brown, who's going to be here in a couple weeks, is one of them. Attorney Jonathan Ginsburg, Attorney Carl Osterhow, ex-Social Security employee Barbara Mountain. Lots of you have contributed your success stories and nuggets of information to help people out. So that concludes our presentation part of the program. I would be excited to learn how many people here finished the survey and where we're at. Approved 49%, 50%. Okay, so I see a lot of people have already crossed the finish line. Congratulations.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to start taking some questions. Wow, what a group here today. Fantastic. And if you have a question, if you haven't entered it into chat, you're welcome to do so. Jam will read it off to me and we'll do our best to answer it, right?
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. So first question, would be about the spousal shared earlier. I just want to,
Is that the stage 5 kidney?
yeah.
Okay, I can see that one right here. I expect the reason for denial is because of the work, making too much money. So you can apply for disability if you are earning up to, what is it, Jim? $1,470.
470. Yep.
But for example, Dan, let's say your wife is probably earning more than that, but let's say she was earning like $1,400 a month. You can apply if you're earning in that range, but it's really difficult to get approved if your earnings are like close to the limit. So I encourage people, if they are going to do something, to keep it in the hobby level, like, below $400 a month is ideal. Best is if, if you don't work, because that's what you're attempting to prove. But some people just, they need to make ends meet. So it is what it is.
Yeah, and hello from Florida. Just got approved May 5th after 18 months.
Wow. I wonder if that was your initial decision. Be good to know that. Congratulations.
Yeah. I'm waiting for my hearing. That is next month. At hearing level, what is the percentage of approval? And we've covered that.
Yeah, it's 51. It's
51.
different in local office. If you're a member here at the Disability Digest, one of the segments of the course that we have teaches you like what to do and not to do at the hearing, which includes like the questions that you will be asked from the judge, what the hearing environment is going to be like, whether it's like if it's going to be at home and you're on the phone, or if it's video, or if it's live and in person, it gives you tips for that. So just contact support at the Disability Digest and we can enroll you into that. Send us your hearing date and that you have a hearing coming up.
Right. Here's one from Stephen. How likely am I to get denied with a compassionate allowance diagnosis? Applied and haven't received a decision yet.
It's a really tough question because I mean, having one of those compassionate allowance, which could be musculoskeletal back or, a brain health issue, having it is one thing, but proving it is another. So I don't know what your medical records say, for example, the degree of severity for a musculoskeletal, like a back issue, and what your range of motion has been limited to. So it's really hard to provide like a legal opinion, if you will, on limited information.
Right. Tracy Lynn, do SSI have to worry about the debt ceiling?
What was the last word?
Debt ceiling.
Debt ceiling?
Yeah.
Uh, Meaning, is the question like, is the disability fund going to run out of money? If that is the question, then yeah, there's definitely a conversation that's going on out there. I think I just saw some recent information. I don't remember the date, but it was like 20 years out or something. Yeah, I would say that's definitely a concern. The solidity of Social Security for sure. So be careful who you vote for. That's my best tip on that one.
Yeah, and there more of a like a statement. Glad to hear that got award letter after about 4 years going through the process, 5 years after being disabled.
Oh my God. Yeah, good for you.
Right. My SSA tells if you're currently eligible for SSDI, but doesn't tell you how long you remain eligible or how long your eligibility ended. For that, you have to call or go to Social Security office.
That's not how the Social Security program works. Once you're approved for disability, then you are approved until You are, if you get a continuing disability review, there's like 5 ways to lose your benefits. But if you get a continuing disability review and they review you and they find out that you're no longer disabled, then that could remove your benefits. Or an overpayment situation. Or there's like there's some other ones that are out there. So, it's like you can say you're innocent until you're proven guilty. So here you're approved until you're not approved. And when you reach full retirement age, you still get the same check amount. It just transitions from Social Security disability to full retirement. And by the way, for those of you that are approved, just recently approved out there, I encourage you to update us. Like you can just go to the disabilitydigest.com or the link that Jam's going to put in there
I
and
did. I already did.
and complete your profile so that and note that you're approved. And so then what we will do is update your membership so that you get information that is relative to helping you keep your benefits and maximize your benefits. Or if you would like help with having your award reviewed or a benefit review, you can request that. It's part of your membership. We have individuals here that will review your benefits, see if you're paying for stuff that you shouldn't be, if there's other stuff you're entitled to, help you understand your insurance options with Medicare and other things that are out there.
All right. Follow up from Tracy about SSI debt ceiling. Yes.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a concern. I don't know what else to say about it. But I've been doing this work for a while, and there always seems to be this kind of scare factor about Social Security is going to end and be insolvent and all that, but I haven't seen it happen, or I don't see anything realistic on the horizon.
Right. Um, do you think that carpal tunnel and tendonitis is a qualifying disability?
It's possible. It's difficult to determine just on conditions because it's not the conditions that are going to, on their own, get you approved. It's how those conditions limit you. Like I could have had carpal tunnel, had a surgery, and be fine. Now, maybe you had carpal tunnel and you're not able to recover from it, and you've been an administrative assistant for 15 years and you're no longer able to type. Or if you sit there, you have some discomfort. So there's different aspects of the conditions tied to the limitations, tied to the treatment, tied to your age, tied to your work, all that.
All right. You're gonna provide the same answer, but from Stephen, I have a diagnosis under compassionate care. What's the percentage of being denied on first try?
Yeah, it's the same answer that I did before without knowing the details. I'll use the John Green story. He had stage 4 cancer, which is a compassionate allowance. He had applied on his own, and his mindset was it's not going to be a problem. I've got stage 4 cancer. Of, you know, I'm terminal, but he got denied, and it's because there's a variety of reasons. Part of the theory is he had such a monstrosity of a medical situation that they didn't sort through and look at the right information. So he came to us to have us file his reconsideration, which we did. And before they made a determination on it, he passed away. So my point is you can have the conditions, you can have a compassionate allowance, but you've got to make sure it's strung together and the right evidence supports it. It's not just, well, I've got that L4, 5, 6, 7 fused together and I'm right.
Right. Here's one from Wendy Original. Nice to know you and other experts, like Ginsburg, work together to help people. Thanks to all of you.
Mm-hmm.
My case has an examiner. Is it okay for me to contact their office?
Sure. If you're managing your case on your own, yeah, yep.
Right. If you have a rental home, do they stop your SSD payments?
Social Security disability income is not impacted by rental income, passive income. If it's SSI, like welfare, then that income would be countable against your, they have this deeming formula, which is super complicated. So it would be.
Okay. SSA sending me to medical again and now mental examination. First time denied December 22. Applied for reconsideration January 23. Why another IME exam?
Yeah, it's a good question. Usually they do it once. And I've heard of this recently where they're doing it again. I don't know why. I guess one of my guesses could be is there's been such a long wait for the initial decision. Maybe they're trying to see if things have changed. It's the
Right.
only thing I can
Like,
think of. Yeah.
yeah, I agree. I mean, they could assess the results, whether it still meets the criteria for disability.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I've been waiting for about 19 months with legal help. Got denied originally for multiple sclerosis. Do you have any advice?
Yeah, come on in. Join us, take advantage of our disability approval course, look at what the panel of experts suggests that should be done at where you're at right now with your case, and then kind of sync that up with what your legal team has done and see if there's any holes or any additional evidence. That's one thing that you could do to make a difference. Yep.
All right. To cover the same kind of question, but I'm still going to mention I'm on SSD, want to rent out my home. Will this stop my SSD payments?
No, it's a slightly different flavor of it. So I'll address it this way. Um, there's two really parts of this, but for with Social Security disability, you can earn up to $1,050 a month of of income that is gainful income, meaning that you need to be engaged into work to generate that income. Like I'm working here today, Jam's working, or you're working at a local convenience market and you're behind the register checking people out. That type of income. Now, when you rent something out, or you have passive income from investments, or you have insurance royalties or other things like that, the IRS code on that income should be passive. And if it is, then that income does not impact the $1,050 a month that you earn, that you can earn, I should say. Good questions today. What a great group.
Okay.
242 in the house.
Right.
244.
Yeah, 244. Antonia, first time I had only medical applied for reconsideration, sending me for medical x-ray again, now including mental exam. I'm frustrated. Um, I hurt my back and have migraines. Statement.
Stay the course, my friend. It's not easy. Yeah.
All right. Here's one from Kathleen. Hi, Kathleen. Besides the obvious, what are some other ways you can lose your benefits? Because I'm not working and SSDI is the only income.
Well, we're going to get into this with Jim Brown, but overpayments, CDRs, they cannot be garnished by like credit cards or doctors, and they can be by child support. So that's three. And the government, there is like if the government has a court order against you, which I'm not using the right language, that is something that can also remove your benefits. If you look on the YouTube channel within the last like 10 days, like there's 5 ways that you can lose your benefits. All the 5 are in there with the regulation that it's referenced. But yeah, stay in treatment. Don't be caught doing any skydiving if you have physical injuries or things like that that you're going to get surveyed for. Be okay.
Right. I am almost 63 and forced into early Social Security. Have not applied for SSD. Learned I am unable to return to my 30 years of career. What are my chances of receiving SSD?
Hmm. That would be an interesting conversation to have. Depends what your work is and what your limitations are. But so in your situation, the premise of your approval would be to prove that you cannot do your work that you've done for 30 years. If you want to put it in there, I can drill down on this a little bit more. So for example, I'll use somebody that has been a trucker. Let's say that they drive truck over the road and they've developed severe diabetes and they have numbness in their toes. It's impaired their vision and like their reaction time because of some mobility issues in their hands and fingers. So then they're not able to drive. They're going to lose their CDL. And so to prove that that person's limitations are what I mentioned and is in treatment for them, could put a lock on getting that individual benefits. Do we know what the type of work is on?
Not yet.
Okay. Might be getting a coffee or something. Gonna come back.
I am waiting for consideration on my application in July. It will be 2 years
Ugh.
since first applying was denied after 1 year. Can I start early retirement in the meantime? And will it hurt my application?
Yes, you can, and no, it will not.
Great. Does SSDI make a decision based on whether you can perform work in your previous profession or any type of work?
Depends on your age and
Yeah, and your skills.
your skills. Yeah. Yeah. So the gentleman or whoever it was, I don't know if it was a guy or a gal that has a 30-year work history. Now, if it's over 15 years and you're over 50, especially if you're over 55, then you're going to be focusing on what you've done for work. If you're under 40 or you've had like different type of work and nothing consistent over 15 years, then it's going to be more like any job.
Right. Going through official testing for autism. Finally, I've had 90-ish jobs when the average is 13 for a lifetime in the US.
Mm-hmm.
That's Brett Burnside. I had
Brett?
SSDI from, yeah, Brett Burnside. I had SSDI from 10 to 13, but lost it due to ditching treatment and going back to full-time work.
Mm-hmm.
Now I live with my parents, and when they pass, I'm afraid of being homeless. I
Mm-hmm.
cannot pay rent, bagging groceries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, that's a tough one because I expect that you are young, under 50. Um, and you would need to prove that you cannot do any job. And if you're able to bag groceries or Social Security says you can bag groceries, that's what's going to make it difficult for you. Again, ultimately, if you just cannot work, you're looking yourself in the mirror and you've tried and tried and tried and you just can't do it, then starting the process and getting in the fight, the sooner you do it, the better it is.
All right. Can I ask for the SSDI for the last 2 years on? I am considering going back to work. I am living a financial crisis.
I don't understand the question.
Right.
Going back to work, I got that.
Yeah,
Asking for payments, back check.
I think
Sounds
so.
like you're on benefits. Yeah, could you clarify that for us? I'd be glad to help, but I just don't understand it. All right, so we have 43% of our audience is approved. The rest of you are trying to get approved. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that question was from Sherry. So she was denied and in reconsideration for over 1 year, and she is 60 years old.
Okay. And is she looking, is this the one that's looking to go back to work?
Considering going
Okay.
back to work.
All right. Good. Um, this would be my position if I or we or our team was working with you here, but if you have somebody else that's managing your case, I would run it by them. I would say this, if you feel that you can go back to work, then I would encourage you to try it. And you know, like for me, we have to invest in somebody's case. Sometimes it takes 3 years to get them approved. I mean, it's basically, some people think I'm crazy for doing this, but this is my point. If you can pull it off and go back to work, you're definitely better to work than you are to be on disability for a variety of reasons. This is just my opinion. But if you go back to work and you follow the right steps and you document how you're feeling in like a pain diary and some specific things that you should do, and you can't make it and you maybe last like a month, that could actually be beneficial uh, to the approval process, because Social Security wants to see the mindset of individuals that want to work. They don't want to see people coming in just looking for a handout. So those efforts could be added to your case file as, you know, a failed work attempt. So that's my position on it.
Right. Again, attention to the live viewers. Please refrain from posting repetitive comments. Questions will be addressed in an orderly manner. Thank you, guys. Um, do you charge a set rate or does it vary?
For what?
Not sure.
Let me
Um,
address it this way. Um, for when you join us as a member, there's no charge. When you go through our strategy, get the disability approval course, talk to us and see if you have a case that's approved, could be approved, there's no strategy. If we agree to represent you, then there's only one fee structure that Social Security has, where I'm authorized to work as a Social Security representative. And that's when your case gets approved, Social Security sends a representative, 25% of your back benefits, up to 7,200. So that is the only thing. Now we work in other areas here. Like we provide benefit reviews. There's no charge for that. If we suggest health coverage plan, most of those plans that we work with have zero premium, so there's no out-of-pocket cost for that. We actually don't have a credit card processor. We don't sell anything on our membership website. Hopefully that helps. We have a
right.
partnership also with Google on our YouTube channel and other pages. So they sponsor different ad blocks, but there's no charge for that.
Right. I receive SSI, but I don't have SSDI, which was promised by my lawyer. Approved SSI since October 2019.
Maybe they haven't made the decision yet. Sometimes it happens that um, they just haven't made that decision. So that's one possibility. I mean, if you medically qualify for SSI, then you should be eligible for SSDI.
Well, what if this is a question from me. What if they apply for both at the same time?
Right. Usually you do.
I mean, do
Yeah.
you yeah, I mean, usually do you get a decision for both?
I've seen it where the SSI is approved at a different time, decisions are made at a different time. Actually, and I've seen it like 2 days ago, I was working with somebody who received both decisions in the same envelope. So it's not
Right.
consistent.
Okay.
Um,
Right. I made an appointment with a neuropsychologist. Will this help my chances of approval and any advice going into the evaluation?
yeah, I mean, the concept for the approval process is to get all your conditions diagnosed and treated so that you can understand how they're impacting your ability or inability to work. So that's definitely a good step. One of the pieces of advice that I have, well, there's several of them, but relative to doctors is to communicate your limitations in your doctor's visits, even especially if you're approved. Every visit, bring them in, and just a simple piece of paper that you have them written down on. Can sit for 15 minutes. I can stand for 10 minutes. I need to take 2 naps a day. I'm not able to walk, further than the end of the driveway, and oftentimes I need a walker to do it. Things like that are really specific, and ask your doctor to put those in your medical records, those notes, because if there's two reasons for this exercise. One is when you're getting treatment, ideally you want to feel better, and you can feel better and still qualify for your disability benefits. And if you're working with your doctor and those limitations are in there and they keep doing different things for you, well, and they're moving the needle or they're not moving the needle, that's what you want to know. But relative to the question, and the disability approval is when Social Security reviews your medical records on the approval process or for your continuing disability review, they'll see that you're treated and they'll see the limitations and the consistent documentation of that. So if you've got 5 conditions and you've got 6 limitations, and they're in there, that's really going to help you get and keep your benefits.
Right. I already answered this, but I believe you can add more. Brian, what are CDRs?
CDR is a continuing disability review. So disability recipients are subject to these until they reach their full retirement age. And the review, which we have there's on our YouTube channel, if you search the keyword CDR, there'll be like four of a 10-part course is on the YouTube channel. That will help you understand what to do to prepare and get through it. But here at the Disability Digest, we have the whole comprehensive course is available. You have to request it once you join. And that will bring you through it, but it'll help you understand like how you're notified, which you're typically sent paperwork to fill out for your CDR, how to fill it out, and what happens next if you get denied, what are your options, that type of stuff. So that's a brief overview on the CDR. One other thing I will say is that 20% of disability recipients annually is about what is being reviewed right now. Anybody out there had a continuing disability review lately? Chime in if you do. Let's take a couple more, Jam, then I gotta move on with my day.
Sure. Is it easy for someone who never worked due to autistic and serious learning disabilities?
Easy to get approved or easy to,
Yeah, I think.
if you have the evidence, as I've mentioned, if you've had these conditions and they're not treated and there isn't anything that Social Security can look at that will validate it, then it could be a real challenge. or if you're still able to do some type of work with them. So there's a lot of
Well, I think
variables
it's for
involved.
SSI,
Or
for
SSI, yeah.
someone who never worked.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. So the medical conditions you still need to meet if to get SSI. You still need to prove that you are medically your conditions prevent you from working to get SSI.
All right. I am 59 and was in the same profession for 37 years. I assume they will evaluate me on my long-term profession.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Or they should.
All right. I'm on SSD and want to rent. Oh, okay. Sorry, we have covered this one.
Okay.
Can I fire a company I hired to um help me to hire a new one? I'm in the beginning of the process.
You can. I have a few thoughts on that. I would understand. I would make sure you fire them for a good reason. Oftentimes people get um, frustrated with the events of Social Security that are not able to be controlled by a representative, and they torch a really good relationship. So I would be careful about that. We have, like if you search this YouTube channel, how to fire, when to fire, the keyword FIRE, you should find that information in more detail, or if you're a member here, you can ask us. But releasing them, yes, you can do that. That is your right, that you can release them. And it's a pretty simple process to do so. But I know you're in the beginning, but let's just say that you're not. You've been in the process and you've had somebody working on this for 18 months and you fire them. Well, they have the right to file a fee petition for the work that they've done and submit it. And the maximum amount that Social Security will pay out is $7,200. But if there's two representatives or a representative that's done work for 18 months and you fire them and they've got good cause to say, okay, well, I did at least $4,000 worth of work, that blocks the other attorney from getting paid the full fee. So you have to be careful with that when you fire, that you're firing for the right reasons. Maybe they missed a deadline or they haven't done their work, or, they don't return your calls on a reasonable time, things like that. All right, let's take
Okay.
one more.
All right. Turning 50 in 2 months, will grid rules apply? 48% through the initial process, 291 days. Oh my.
Right. Grid rules are most effective if you have to go to a hearing. Than they would, because as you swing over the 50-year mark, then your skills and transferable skills are taken into consideration, your education. So yeah, yes is the short answer. Yeah. Jam, as always, an excellent job. I thank you very much for your assistance here. Great group today. Super questions. I hope you
Yeah.
found this helpful.
Thank you, guys.
We'll be back next week to talk about the basic information for those of you that are approved, and a reminder, if you are approved, to update us. And if you're going through the approval process, then we encourage you to reach out to us. If you're already a member, make sure that you get enrolled into the right segment of the disability approval course to help you out. So in closing, Jan put a link to the Disability Digest in there. If you're new here and need to update us, just click that link and get to the green button, go through, complete the evaluation. That'll get your membership current so we can get you the very best information to help you out. Again, there's no charge for your membership and the strategy that we have. So we'll be back next week, right?
Yeah, and shout out to Amy and Rebecca, members I spoke to this week.
Hey, awesome. Awesome. It's a small world, isn't it?
Yeah, and as always, thank you, David, for watching almost every
Yes.
Wednesday.
Yes. Cool.
And Kathleen.
Kathleen, good stuff. All right, everybody. Appreciate you. Be well. Till the next time.
Right. Bye, guys. Thank you.